بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب زدني علما.
Okay, now in this video, we'll try to understand what we can do with the configuration management tools. And then automation tools make your job easier. Generally, the network engineer's job will be much easier with the help of automation tools. So let's try to see how exactly these tools will makes the job easier. So the first thing, it will remove the dependencies of box by box management. Now what this exactly mean is, let's take an example. You got some 50 plus routers and switches, and you are supposed to make any changes to this existing devices, or maybe you want to add any new configurations, or maybe you want to remove any specific configurations on this. So probably what we'll do is we need to log into the command line using telnet or SSH. You log into those devices, and then you're going to type in specific commands, or if you have a specific pre-configured text, you can simply go and copy paste on each and every box. So probably what you need to do is you need to go to each and every box and you have to make the changes. Even though all the devices may have the same copy paste command, you still need to log into each and every device. If there are any changes, slight changes, you can use Notepad, edit the config a little bit, and then paste it on individual devices. So all these things are no more required with the help of automation tools. So these tools is going to make your job easier. It's going to remove the dependencies, saying that you don't need to log into the device, you don't need to touch the device. You can simply automate all these configurations without going to box by box. You can simply select the devices from the software, and the software will push the commands directly to the individual devices. So the same thing again, apart from that, we can automate the deployment of the changes. Either it can be scheduled or it can be manual. Now what this means is, like, with the help of these softwares, like I said, these are the softwares which are generally using, let's say. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be logging into the specific software here. Now once you log into these devices, now you can either connect to individual devices from the software, and you can make the changes, and these changes can be done manually, or you can simply schedule this one. You can say, I don't want to make the changes right now, but I want the software to automatically make the changes maybe at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can schedule those things, and you can just define the instructions. What are the changes you need to do on which device? Probably it will do automatically according to the schedule. And after once it make the changes, it can again collect all the statistics of the changes and everything and display back to you on the software here. Now with the help of this, you can avoid the human errors, because you're not going to do manually on each and every box. So, and again, the human errors can be minimized. You can check the things before you tell the software. You can verify them, and of course it will make your configuration much faster. Of course, avoid the configuration related problems and also eliminate the repetitive task. Now the next thing, the centralized configuration and the software management task on a single controller. Again, this is the same thing. Eliminate effectively, you can manage multiple simultaneous updates. Now this is same like the configurations. You can schedule specific updates. You want to upgrade the software, or you want to upgrade the images on specific things. Now what you can do is you can use with these tools, you can centralize everything from one single software. Now again, centralization means either these softwares may be running on a server. So typically it can be like this can be running on a software, maybe a standalone server on its own server, maybe any of these softwares, whatever listed, running some kind of Linux or some kind of Ubuntu servers, and then that can be automated from the server. This is one option. Or the second option is these servers or these tools can actually speak to the controller, and once they talk to the controller, and according to the controller, now once they speak to the controller, they will be sending out the request to the controller or sending out the instructions to the networking devices via controller. So this is another option. So again, depends upon your environment, depending upon your vendor, you're selecting whether you have a controller or not. It totally depends on that. So mostly typically in our SDN Cisco networks, we'll be using this software will be speaking to something called Cisco DNA, which is running on the controller, which is going to be used for a complete setup environment. Now again, this configuration management tools will be using some kind of scripts and the tools to perform mass upgrades or any changes. So basically these tools will be using set of commands. So probably what we'll be doing is we'll be adding those group of commands and running them and grouping them in the form of scripts. Now these scripts, we are going to tell that particular software to run this particular scripts either manually, or we can go ahead and schedule and say that, okay, you need to run this specific set of commands. We call them as scripts. On this particular specific time, we can schedule it. Apart from that, we can do something called zero-day automation. Now this is plug and play device provisioning. Now what this means is, so we already discussed most of this in the beginning in the foundation topics. So whenever you add any new router or a switch, let's say I'm adding a new router here, and that router needs to come online to be a part of the network. Now, in order to make that particular new device to be a part of the network, you have to connect and you have to do a lot of manual configurations before it actually becomes fully functional. Like you need to add the IP address, you need to maybe you need to add some configurations to that before it comes up. So that process will take some time. So with the help of configuration management tools, with the help of this, we can automate this process. So whenever a new device comes up, probably this device will become automatically or fully functional without actually logging into that particular device. So it will automatically extract the configs from the controller or from the software, and it can install its own configurations dynamically and can make your device to come up immediately or very fast without actually touching the devices. And then finally, we'll be seeing something called, with the help of these tools, we can create some resources. Now, resources refers to any changes or anything you want to add on a specific device. Like let's say you want to create a VLAN, or you want to apply some route filtering options, or you want to make some changes to the routing or apply an ACL, or you want to get some statistic information. So these are individually referred as resources. And you can do this, you can apply the resources or make any changes either on a specific node or a group of nodes. Now you can apply these things at a time on the multiple devices, or you want specific changes to be applied on, or you want to add any new things on a specific selected node, you can do that dynamically from these softwares. So these are some of the list of options what we can do from the automation softwares or the config management tools. That is a common term which is used to describe these programs.